Okay, hi everybody. So it is the first time I'm doing one of these live events in a little while, and I'm super excited about it because I have something really cool to share with you guys today. It's the type of thing I normally save for membership sites. I know many of you are not members yet of the Vagrein membership site, so I want to let you know, first of all, that the membership will be opening its doors again on April 1st. And there are 3 tiers. I'd love for you to go and check out the information about that at www.jpherman.com and see if it's something that you're going to want to participate in for the next quarter. So, what are we doing today? Today, we are having a little bit of a chat about manifestation. So there isn't a single person I know that doesn't want to manifest something right now. Actually, I'm really warm. And whatever that thing is, I want to remind you what Vagrein says about desires and that your desires are not necessarily yours. I'm just making sure my mute is not on. And your desires are not yours. Your desires are energy and inspiration that comes through you as the receiver of information and inspiration from universal consciousness, from isness itself. And desires are there for you to have some sort of stimulus and motivation in your life to move you towards more of, well, what you're desiring, but also towards more of your growth. So, for example, there are general themes that we're all dealing with in our existence. One is health, one is relationships, one is abundance, one is general well-being, one might be your environment. There are lots of different collective themes that we all have. And when you have a desire in one of these areas, it might not be there simply for you to realize that desire. In other words, when you come across something that you don't want, you find out very quickly what you do want, and that might stimulate a desire within you. Once that desire is stimulated, you are then set off on a trajectory towards the achieving of it within your life. So if you have discomfort, you are going to want to adjust in your chair so that you're more comfortable. If you had a jacket on earlier and you find out it's really warm as you're recording this, you take off the jacket. Now, often desires don't lead us to the realization of them. They just lead us off on a new path. They give us new inspiration for what to do in this now moment towards our growth, towards our development, towards our evolution as a being. What have I been doing recently? So I'm going to share with you today some tools. Maybe Vagrein will come in. We'll see how much time we have. And one of the tools that I've been experimenting with and have modified from the way that I used to be doing it is the tool of a morning manifestation practice. Now, some time ago, I think a couple of years ago, I came across a video by Gala Darling. I will put that in the show notes if I can find it, because it was really wonderful to hear her tips and tricks towards this sort of miracle morning practice. But I'll just briefly give you a summary of what that was. And what it was partnering up with another person, and via WhatsApp or your favorite messaging app, sending that person a little message every morning. Good morning, Louise. Sending that person a little message every morning with 3 steps, 3 parts. So the first part was you would say good morning, and this would be via voice recording. You would say good morning, and you would say, hi, these are the things I'm grateful for today. Now, we all know that gratitude is a huge practice, and in theory, you're already using a gratitude journal, or you're already making this a part of your experience, because it is one of the most, I'd say, accelerated ways to have a better feeling state in your life. So to raise your vibration. And in this particular practice, she suggested listing off 3 or 4 things that you're grateful for via this voice recording, followed by something that is similar to pre-paving as per the Abraham Hicks teachings. So pre-paving is the idea of setting yourself up to win. And Gala mentioned that if you could plan out your day as if the day was already finished and speak out loud all the things that you wanted to happen, but they already had happened, then that would be a wonderful way to prepave your day. And I can vouch to this. This is absolutely true. It is definitely a wonderful way to prepave your day. So that would be the second part of this particular exercise that you would do on a daily basis. And the third part would be to then fast forward or project yourself 3 months from now, 6 months from now, whatever feels good, and to talk about your past, like the past 3 months or 6 months, as if they already happened. And as you're sharing these aspects of what's already happened, you talk about it. Of course, it hasn't already happened yet, but you talk about it in the most positive outcomes you could possibly imagine. So, if, for example, you have an important event coming up, like I do, um, you would talk about that as if it had already been a great success, as if it had already been sold out, as if it had already been realized in a certain way. Hi, First Light. Good morning. Good morning in Ontario. Back to my roots. I hope it's not too cold there. And so by doing so, you would be setting yourself up not only for today, but for 6 months from now. Then you'd wrap up your audio track and you'd send it off to your friend. That friend would also send one back to you, and you would have this back and forth so that you had this partnership and you had this interaction on a daily basis, not only with someone else being witness to your desires, but also in order to get yourself in the mood first thing in the morning of knowing that things are going to happen for you, knowing that you're going to get what you're wanting. Gonna have a quick sip here. Okay, so how have I modified this? For me, that was really great, except there were a little bit of hiccups in that particular practice. First of all, I'm an extremely busy person. And it's not to say that I don't have good friends, that I want to hear everything about their day, and that I want to interact with them on a daily basis. It's just that I found that having the obligation, or maybe not even obligation because the friends I was interacting with were awesome, but having the task to listen to someone else's audio, which could range between 3 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it would be, could be really taxing on my day. And then I would end up with the sensation of guilt if I hadn't gotten around to it or if I hadn't given the person feedback. So that was my first hiccup for that particular practice. The second was, for as good and as close as my friends are, when I was sharing my gratitude, or I was sharing my day, or I was sharing specifically my 6 month out desires, I would filter or censor myself a little bit. Maybe I wouldn't speak as freely or as openly as I would do if no one was listening. Maybe I would modify what I was saying because I would feel self conscious about the thing that I wanted. Who knows? Maybe I really wanted a new handbag. Now, I'm not someone who normally is after material goods, but sometimes you do see something that you like and you're like, I really want that handbag. And that is a valid desire. Again, a desire is not necessarily heading towards that handbag, but it's heading towards whatever the inspirational steps you're going to take in the investigating of that desire. So maybe if I wanted a handbag, I'd go onto a website that had that particular product, and that would lead me to seeing an advertisement for something else, or it would lead me to looking at my phone in exactly the right moment to be able to interact with someone that I've been meaning to speak to, whatever it is. But I noticed that I would filter my desires or filter the things that I was saying so as to either not burden the person or not reveal too much of what was feeling very vulnerable to me or whatever it might have been. And this made the practice feel a little bit censored, or what did it feel like? It felt like I couldn't speak entirely freely about what I was wanting. So these were the two main issues for why this practice didn't necessarily feel great to me. The other thing was also the accountability factor, which is a good thing in that the person was expecting the message every day. But it can also be a bad thing in that the days that I just didn't get around to it, I felt guilty and as if I hadn't participated. And then a cycle would ensue where perhaps they wouldn't send their message. And we would get into this thing where neither of us were doing it and both of us were feeling bad about not doing it. And that was exactly the opposite of what was intended from this particular exercise. So my modification for this came about this year, and I've started practicing with it. I think I'm on day like 35 or something like that. And I wanted to make sure that it was really working properly before I shared it with you guys. So, the way that the practice works for me now is I open up the Notes app on my phone and I complete the same practice with the voice to text version of the Notes app. In doing so, I'm able to speak freely because I know that the message is only for me. And simultaneously, while I'm speaking it out loud, it gets transcribed into the Notes app. So that's really convenient. And if you have a, what do I have? I have a Samsung or something like that. If you have an Android phone, then that's directly available to you with Google Type, keyboard, etc. So I'll go through the gratitude aspects that I have for the day. Then I will go through the planning out the whole day in the past tense. So I'll say, today was a wonderful day. Today I woke up and I had this most amazing coffee. I don't know why it tasted so good. It was so much better than any coffee I've ever had. Then I got the kids off to school. They were so cooperative and they were really amazing. Then I sat down on my computer. I was completely inspired. I got so much work done. I got all of my admin done that's been hanging over my head. After that, I had 3 client meetings and everyone was really inspired and made major shifts and had major breakthroughs. I managed to channel Vagrein in the most beautiful way possible, and they were spot on. They were so good. It was one of the best Vagrein sessions I've ever had was today. Hi, Micheline. And then I had amazing lunch. I then picked up the kids from school after I worked even more and felt even better about my work. In the evening, I got to meet with a friend and we had such a beautiful time together. We had so much connection. We had so much love. We had so much interaction that felt just perfect for me. And I'm feeling so good about that relationship. You get the point. Okay. When I'm finished doing that, I'll do my 6-month backup or 3-month. It'll depend what I'm sort of feeling in that moment. And I'll talk about things that I have coming up. I'll talk about how amazing the Colorado event was, how all of these really, really fantastic people got together and we had this beautiful transmission from Vagrein, and Vagrein transmitted the first parts of the book, and the live streaming went perfectly. There were no glitches whatsoever. And so many people joined the live stream. I couldn't believe it. And then afterwards, because we were at Greg's house, we got to have this epic party and dancing all around and having so much fun. And I made the most killer playlist. It was so good. And everyone loved my taste in music. And you see how I'm getting like worked up already, just talking about one of the events, but I'll go on and I'll continue and I'll talk about the Florida event and how Mike DOOLEY and I had this synchronistic collaboration and we had such a beautiful time. This room was packed. It was sold out and there were 300 people there and every single person there felt as if the transmissions were tailored directly to them. The content that was delivered was ready for the next Vagrein book, and that meeting of the minds event that we had after that was so nourishing, so fulfilling, so beautiful, so exciting. And I met so many new people that are going to be my best of friends forever because they're just awesome. And then I'll talk about the next days in Florida. So I have 2 more days in Florida coming up. So I'll talk about them in the past tense as well. And I'll talk about how those 2 days were so transformative and the smaller group really took on this energy of connection and expansion and moving into being solid and light bringers for the rest of the community, to being light bringers for the rest of their family and friends, and are completely ready for any of the amazing changes that are coming up in the world. They're super, super solid in who they are and they know who they are. So this is just an example, but that is how I would go about that and explaining how my holiday went well and how my relationship is going amazing, how my health has been stellar and how I've got so much energy to work out and so much energy to take care of myself. Everything good. And I will go through all of those themes of life. I'll go through health. I'll go through family. I'll go through relationships. I'll go through spirituality. I'll go through connection. I'll go through my work. I'll go through my abundance. I'll go through my career. All of the things, and talk about them as if it's 6 months from now and every single thing has gone exactly as I wanted it to go. Having done this, maybe 10 minutes have passed, and my vibration is like, zzz, it's like crazy high. Okay. But what has been transcribed into the note taking app is really long. Okay. So it's like a whole spiel. And to make this more useful for the future in terms of looking back and seeing what I had predicted is an interesting word in this case, but seeing what I had offered to myself, to my life, to my desires, what I then do is I copy the entire long thing into AI, into ChatGPT, and I ask ChatGPT, please create a summary of the following text. And it's interesting because sometimes it will rewrite that summary back to me in is it second person, saying you, right, saying, so you are feeling amazing about your events that are coming up, you are feeling amazing about the YouTube videos that you published, you are feeling amazing about everything that's going on. Sometimes it will say Jessie. So it'll say Jessie is feeling great about her relationship with her family, about how things are going for her on a social level, how things are going for her health. And sometimes it will simply list out the things. So I could, in theory, change the prompt to make sure it said it in the right way. But anyhow, that's still a part I'm experimenting with. But anyhow, what is the amazing thing about this is that when I then get to the end of the day, right, I get to go back and read, especially that how today went part of it, and see how much has the needle shifted in terms of what I'm wanting, in terms of what I asked for in the morning. And it really is seeming that these are magical words that you're giving out in the morning. These are things that you're offering to the universe and saying, this is what I'm open to. This is what I'm ready for. This is what today would be like if I had no resistance. And the moment that you've said that you have no resistance because you've actually spoken it out loud, you've used your throat chakra and the power that comes through you, the motoring that comes through you, guess what the universe says? It says, okay, let's see what on that list we can deliver today. And like I said, I've been doing this for, I think 25, 35, was it 35? 35 days or so, over a month. And it has been amazing because not only am I waking up with this insanely high vibe and feeling completely excited about how the day's going to go and how the month's going to go and how the 6 months are going to go, the year too, if you want to go that far out. But I'm getting to go to bed with this sense of, wow, even if only one thing on the list of the day is delivered, you get to see how collaborative the universe is with you. You get to see how much you're willing to step into your courage and saying, this is what I want. And I've been in that place before where perhaps in the morning I'm like, oh, yeah, so today I'd like it to be less rainy, and it was a great day because I got a booking. So maybe some days I'm not feeling super excited. Maybe some days I'm not getting up to that space of frothing at the mouth with excitement and gratitude. But there's always at least one thing on that list that comes to pass. And Abraham Hicks does talk about the pre-paving and does talk about setting yourself up to win. And I think that this is a really great system for setting yourselves up to win. So the first thing I'm going to ask you guys to do is subscribe right now, since you're here, because that is so helpful to to my work and to Vagrein. It does show me that you guys are paying attention and that you are excited about being here. And so that would be wonderful for me. But the other thing I want you to do is to start attempting or playing with this particular practice. There isn't the problem of somebody listening to your audio. There isn't the problem of having to accommodate someone else's timeline or making sure you're speaking quicker, or they're going to have to listen to it and you're going to feel judged. Nobody's judging you here, and the universe never judges you. So I want you to start thinking about if this is something, a practice, and I see that Louise says it's a lovely practice. If this is something that you can begin to introduce to your life as a regular practice, because it's something that is one of those hacks for being human. Okay. I know that the majority of people who watch my videos, you guys tend to be more non-physical than physical. And you tend to lean more towards having desires that are of a metaphysical nature or of a personal nature, in that, like, you would like to let go of jealousy, for example, or you'd like to move more into your psychic gifts or something like that, right? But we are human for the moment, okay? And we are here, and there are things that we want, right? They can be personal. In other words, you can want the handbag, or they can also be collective. They can also be global. You can be talking about the shifts you want to make in your life. You can be talking about the habits or vices you want to give up. You can be talking about the desires that you have for others. You know, I desire that my dog his leg heals quickly. I don't have a dog, and I don't have a dog with a broken leg, but if that is your desire, then that is valid to talk about as well. And if you are going to try this out, I want you to leave the comment or come back to this video and leave a comment about how it went, because it sounds like it could be really potentially life shifting. I mean, in my case, it has been. So back to the original version that I did. At some point when I was doing that original version via audio to the friend, I started saying over and over again that I was going to be on Gaia TV. And, you know, I didn't even have a Gaia subscription at the time. And I didn't even really know what that meant. I just knew that I suddenly had that desire to be on Gaia. And Pepper's trying to get in. And and so that was one of the things that I started to speak out loud. I started to say, like, oh yes, I got a TV show with Gaia, and I'm recording it, and it was amazing. It went really well. The people there were so wonderful. The people there were so amazing, etc. And then randomly, like, it really was the universe responding to that, I got the phone call from Gaia. Now, this story with Gaia is also interesting because up until still now, if I ask any of the people I now know over there who recommended me to them to have on the show, to have on the channeling conference, nobody knows. Nobody knows who had followed my content. Nobody knows who had got my name out of a hat. Nobody knows how they got my name out of a hat. Okay. But everyone says, oh, you know what? It was Yurka. Now, Yurka is the CEO, no, not even the CEO. He's the inventor of Gaia. He's the creator of Gaia, the owner. And everyone says, like, yeah, it was Yurka. And when I asked Yurka, I had lunch with him. Was it lunch or dinner? Anyway, it doesn't matter. When I asked him, like, how did you come across me? His response was, we've been following you for a while. Right now, Yurka's an amazing energy, okay? And that answer kind of felt like a don't ask any more questions type of situation. So I didn't, but it was a cryptic and beautiful answer for me, because it really made me feel like we was the universe and the universe has been following me for a while. Now, I want you guys, if you're going to take something from this live away today, to take away the idea that the universe is following you. The universe sees your stories. The universe watches what you're posting. Okay, I'm talking about, like, obviously in real life, but we're using this metaphor of social media. The universe hears what you're saying, sees what you're doing, and knows you intimately. Okay. It knows what you're ready for and what you've consented to and what you're not. And this practice allows you very deeply to connect with, what am I ready for? What am I courageous enough to say out loud? What am I ready to dream about, to feel in my bones, what is the next most amazing, awesome thing that could happen in this adventure called life? And it is an adventure. It really, really is an adventure. So leave me a little hello in the comments if you have any sort of manifestation practice now, if it's similar to the one that I just described, or if it's different, because we're all here to share our expertise and our inspirations on this particular topic. I see Louise says, I do versions of it and I'm super interested in conscious creation. I've subscribed and I love your work and Vagrein. Oh, great. Thank you for subscribing and thank you for loving my work. And thank you for being a conscious creator because it is super important. If anyone else wants to mention something in the chat, that would be so cool. It's great to catch up with you guys too, because I haven't been doing too many lives and I haven't been posting too many videos. The new format of the podcast is coming out very shortly. So there's going to be episodes both somewhat like this, where it's me chatting with you guys about different topics. And then there's also going to continue to be my guest episodes. The next ones that are coming up are amazing. I just recorded 3. I recorded with Brad Yates. I suggest you head over to check out his content. He is amazing. And the episode was epic. So good. He's an EFT tapping specialist, and we went through a tapping on awesomeness, on allowing yourself to be awesome and allowing everything that's awesome into your life. So I want you guys to get excited about that episode coming out. I have an episode, the next one that's coming out is going to be on law of attraction and manifestation. So it's on the same theme as what we're talking about right now. So that's really cool. And then we have an episode with Freya Dawson, who talks about parenting and conscious parenting. We have an episode coming out with Dr. Amy Robbins, and she is an expert and a medium in psychology and being in life and interacting with the afterlife and those who are no longer here. Jules says, I'll share a video on my channel about the version that I received in automatic writing recently. Okay, great. So Jules is going to share something on his channel. And Louise says she loves Brad Yates. Yes, he is so amazing. It's one of those people. Okay, so I have the podcast for ulterior motives. And one of the main reasons why I created a podcast, even though I didn't even know this at the time, was because I like talking to cool people. Like, how cool is it to be able to talk to the people who've influenced your life? The people such as Brad or Brian Scott or Mike Dooley is going to come on the show eventually, Andy Dooley or Daniel Scranton. All these people, they're so awesome, right? And it's so exciting to be able to have an hour to pick their brains and talk about what's exciting to me. The most recent episode, itchy in this ear. I wonder, does anyone know what that's all about? Louise Hay-Wise, so itchy ears. Yeah, the most recent episode was Sheila Gillette. I see Jules mentioning that right now. And she is the channel for Theo. So it was actually the first time I ever got to speak to a non-physical entity group. Which I've never been on that side of the conversation before. I've only ever been the channel and channeling Vagrein. So that episode was really cool because first of all, my vibration was like insane high. I was actually feeling a little self-conscious because I was so enthusiastic and so excited to speak to them that I was like bouncing off the walls here. So it was really fun, but do follow the podcast. Okay. So if you guys are not yet following the podcast, even if you don't use podcast platforms that often, it would be so cool if you could follow the podcast on a podcast platform, because I'd love to grow the I'd love to grow the podcast this year and have that become more available to more people. The reason for that also is because the podcast is far more accessible to the collective than Vagrein's work is. I have no illusions that Vagrein's work is not for everybody. And, I often say like Abraham Hicks is a gateway drug to spirituality, because you start out by saying, hey, you can get what you want if you do X, Y, and Z. And at some point, and actually the next podcast episode talks about this with a very personal story from me, but at some point, it might not work. And that's when you realize, oh, right, what I what really is not the thing. Let's go back to the handbag. Not really the handbag, but the way I think that will make me feel. And that sends people off on this trajectory for self-inquiry, for inner digging, and discovering who they really are. And eventually that leads them off in the direction of their own meditation or spirituality, or interacting in different ways with others, or pre-paving their day so that they do get what they want. Robert says, has anyone ever done an event or two more channel entities interacting with one another? Imagine Theo talking to Vagrein. That could be really interesting. You know, I've thought about that. And was it Daniel and I that were like playing around with that idea in a way? But but I'm not sure that these entities would consent to sort of that kind of roadshow type of thing. But it might come up. You know, who knows? If someone wants to put that together and wants to invite me, let's see what happens. Janet, I just stepped away to another room and did my first recording as you explained. I did it only for a couple minutes and already felt an amazing shift. I'm going to continue to do this. Thank you. Yay! Okay, Janet. So Janet, you are the one person that I did this video for. Not that everybody else here and everybody else who eventually watches isn't valid or isn't appreciated. But I always say that if my work impacts even one person, then my day is done. Like I've succeeded. That's my day. So I don't have to do anything else today. It's 2 p.m. and I can throw in the towel. I'm done. Okay. So I'm excited to hear that and to see that comment. Thank you, Janet. Right. So I don't know if I have anything else to share today. Vagrein doesn't seem to be coming through, but I do want to mention to you guys that I do have those amazing events coming up, the ones I described earlier. So those are real things. I have an event on March 22nd in Boulder, Colorado, or just outside Boulder, Colorado, and that's going to be held at a participant's house. So I'm so excited for that event because I envision it as the most epic house party that I've ever been to. Of course, we've had to limit the spots, the participants in that particular event, because we don't want to trash Greg's house. But we are going to be transmitting the beginnings of Vagrein's book, Call to Change. And the particular theme of that meeting is connection. So it's going to be about a new level of connection. And I think that it's perfect to end that event with a party because, you know, what better way to really mingle and to interact and to socialize. Again, I will reveal my ulterior motives for doing these events. It is because when I'm channeling, I don't get to interact with you guys. And that kind of feels lonely. I miss you. And it's hard. So I do these events, I channel all day, and then I get to go to the party at the end, which is lots of fun. On April 12th, I have an event with Mike DOOLEY in Orlando, Florida. That is a very large event, hopefully. And we are going to be really diving into you being the miracle. So that is the theme of that. You are the miracle of your life. You are a miracle. You are the miracle. And Vagrein will be channeling on that. I believe that the content of that might end up in the book as well. We'll see, because the book that's coming out is going to be the Call to Change book, which has been in the process of Vagrein telling me how this is going to work for a very long time now, probably since the end of the publication of the first book. So I'm thrilled that finally there's some flow in here and that it's going to be coming at you in person. That is so cool. After that event, there is what did he call it? He calls it a meeting of the minds. And that is a special event where Mike and I get to interact with a select few of you and sign books and interact with you and answer questions and be with you in person. So that's going to be really cool. He's a great organizer. He's a great moderator. He's a great MC. He's just so amazing, charismatic. And if you don't know him, check him out, because he's got his TUT, which is the Universe Talks emails that go out all the time. And they're really inspirational, really beautiful. So do check his work out as well. Then, there's so much going on. Then on the 13th and 14th, I've got a 2-day event in Florida. You can come to either one or both of those days, but the second day will also have the possibility of joining for social engagements, a buffet, some more interaction, and some beautiful time together. So that's what we've got coming up in March and April. You can check out all of these events right on my website, www.jpherman.com/events. I also wanted to mention that I do have spots for coaching that have opened up. So get in touch with me if you do want to consider perhaps getting into a coaching relationship with me. I also do human design charts, which I'm loving. And I've been having a lot of fun with human design recently because I step away from it personally for a while every now and again, but I've come back to it again recently, and I'm potentially working. I'm about to say something I didn't even know I was going to say. Potentially working on a course of how the types can interact with one another, sort of like a rules and regulations of how to interact with the other types. I'm a manifester, and I'm also a 3/5, which means that I learn by experimentation and then I deliver what I've learned, which is exactly what this video is all about, at a later point, concise, distilled, and able to be used by someone who doesn't have to have then the entire experimentation aspect that I had to go through myself. Now, in terms of how the types interact with each other for a manifestor, specifically, it's very important to know, because if a manifestor doesn't know how to interact with the other types, there's always going to be issues. There's always going to be issues. It's going to be conflict. There's going to be misunderstanding. There's going to be a whole hullabaloo, and it ain't good. However, I've also noticed that if a projector doesn't know how to interact with a manifestor, that's a problem. If a projector doesn't know how to interact with a generator, that can be a violation of boundaries. If a generator doesn't know how to interact with anybody, then they tend to assume everyone's like them, and they're just not. So I'd like to be able to see if this course is going to ever come to be, and invite you guys to stay tuned to find out more about that. I really didn't even know that information was just going to come through for you guys. So now that I've said it out loud and in public, maybe that is something I'm going to have to see if I have energy to actually undertake. Last thing that I want to share with you guys before I head off, because I love that you're here, but I don't want to keep you too long because I want you to go off and do your audio, is that we have a retreat coming up in May. This retreat is in Acqui Terme here in Italy, and it is going to be beautiful. And it's not just going to be beautiful because Vagrein will be transmitting every day. It's going to be beautiful because Italy is beautiful. It's going to be beautiful because pasta is gorgeous. It's going to be beautiful because we're going to have a picnic in a vineyard. It's going to be beautiful because you are beautiful, and you're going to come and you're going to have an amazing epic time, and it's going to be very transformative. Now, on my to-do list for tomorrow is edit up the testimonials from previous participants who did come to Acqui last year. So shortly, I'm going to be able to let you guys have it from someone else's voice, how that went on, and what you can expect at the Acqui event. But spaces are limited and it is filling up. So I would love to hear from you directly if you are interested in joining. It's May 15th to 18th, and it will be in Acqui Terme, Italy. We can get you all the help you need to get here. And what did I want to say? Yes, the 15th to 18th. Oh, right. And you can check that out right on the website again at www.jpherman.com/Vagrein retreat. Ooh, and gosh, in 6 days, we have another online event. For those of you who can't meet up in person, there's one more event online before probably June. So March 9th, there's another event online, and you guys can join that as well. It's called Moving Forward, and you will be able to ask your questions directly to Vagrein if you enjoy the Vagrein energy, and to hang out a little bit with me. But of course, there's no party after that, so I don't get to socialize that much. Okie dokie, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Thank you for being the wind beneath my wings, because you really are. And yeah, just so much gratitude for you guys. Really, that is one of the things I think I consistently say in the mornings. So it is all my love for you. Oh, Seymour says, love the voice notes approach. Paused and did it. Oh, you paused and did it too. That's so cool. You guys like off, you went off and you did it right away. I'm so excited. Okay, so guys, go try it. Go try it out, and then let me know how it goes. I'm going to allow this video to become a video on the actual channel, but it will be in the live section. I don't know why they do that. And I'll put some notes underneath and some links and stuff for you, so you can always check it out. And I send you all my love. So have an absolutely amazing, amazing day and a great week. Bye.